Very happy to be here.
It never stops.
Every time, Paul.
It never stops.
Very nice to see you all again.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 5 seconds of silence. Of course, the buzzing stops. So never mind. When it starts again, I'll like clap or say stop, and then we'll just be quiet because I need that buzzing, otherwise I can't get it out. And watch them be done for the evening.
Quiet.
Let that be our luck. Okay, I have that going. Let me double check that we're going over here. Play.
Remember when we used to
Why isn't this
start
showing?
podcasting and there'd be like at least 5 or 6 people there? Oh, at the beginning.
Well, that was on Friday nights. So we have to build up a whole new set of people.
Sad stuff.
Hi, who will save Generation X? How are you doing? Good to see you.
So sad.
Indeed. Why isn't this?
I guess Ashley's background is just going to change every 5 seconds. That's
Yes.
Pretty much, because I can't make up my mind.
fine. I love it for the ADHD people crowd.
Stop whining.
Sorry,
Is this not
Arnold.
going out? What's going on?
It's
Hold
not
on,
going out
guys.
where?
To Rumble, it says streaming to it.
See, this is why people don't use Rumble. It's too complicated.
Not only that, they won't let me in.
I had a pain in the tuchus getting started with Rumble.
I'm sorry, guys.
What's that supposed to mean?
By the way, I like how like it was a life or death situation in your escape pod, Ashley. And I was like all calm and cool, like, all right, hooking up the stuff,
all
and
good.
then
I tried to tell you guys
all-
to have urgency and stuff, but you just don't buy it or something. I
all
don't
of
know.
a sudden now you're here. Like I was listening to 16. It's like, oh, it's a trap. Okay, and then now you're here. So is this a trap?
Apparently.
No. Do you want to know behind the curtain now that everyone's here? Oh, you sent us an email.
Yes,
Oh.
I unfortunately, Zabe, my work schedule is really tough. I would love to be a part of it, but I won't know till Thursday afternoon, which is cutting
Oh,
it
you
way
like-
too close.
You just sent it like a half hour ago. Okay, I'm like, what? Okay.
Dude, he sent that ages ago, like at least like maybe 30 minutes ago or something. It's crazy.
Is that ages really?
Yeah, you know how many
To
people
some
were
people
born
it
in the
is.
last 30 minutes? Like a lot. Got to keep that population growth going, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Especially since all these new 20-year-olds
Well,
don't have kids
I will
anymore.
definitely look at that, Zabe. I was hoping more.
Wow. Wow. Well,
Wow,
considering how many people responded to my last response to anyway.
What?
Duly noted.
Your last.
By the way, I do like when you used, it was at least on one episode, where you used the sound clip for pauljpowers.com, Zabe. That was awesome.
Nice.
Paul J. Powers.
Now we're having fun.
But wow, I'm impressed that you guys listened to Ship's Log 16 this fast. Hey, Dale. Good evening.
You sent it. It was hard not to listen to
Aw, I appreciate that. Okay. Exactly. Aw. We love him too, Zabe.
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimball have to go to the bathroom. Nothing.
it. To go to the bathroom.
There is
There is no bathroom.
You know you were waiting for it.
Well, I don't know why Rumble doesn't want to show the
Okay, we're gonna go with
thing,
this
but
because it's like bloodied and bruised and battle
sorry,
scarred.
How important is
everyone on Rumble, but
This is
Okay.
what people came for.
The
exactly.
technical difficulty.
Well, I mean, we're other places. It says it's streaming. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
I'm excited
About
about
listening to your
believe it.
Superman 3, I could not
Do
miss.
you?
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Okay.
Well, be careful what you wish for,
Yeah, be-
right?
be-
With
be
your Indiana
careful.
Jones,
All right.
right?
Thumbs up. We're gonna go through this script a couple times probably, but thumbs up if you guys are. Where'd my thing go? Thumbs up if you are ready to go.
Wait for it.
Okay. Now we'll do our 5 seconds of silence since I don't know when it's gonna happen, so we'll just have it for now.
Quiet.
All right. thank
Very
you, guys.
good.
Yes, it was very good. Thank you, Paul. All
I
right.
tried.
We are recording here. Streaming. All right, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. So we're about to. Oh, and let me put this little thing on so
I
people
wish you
know.
could see my shirt better. I
Yeah,
need
me
a booster
too.
seat.
Oh, it's backwards. Dang
I'm
it.
like, yeah, yours is backwards. Mine is not. I wear the blue one.
Maybe I can.
I haven't.
Oh, then you
had
can
a
see my
s-
mic.
Yeah.
No.
I haven't had any Superman themed anything since I was like 12. Back in the day, the closest amusement park growing up was a Six Flags, and we had this cool roller coaster called Superman Ride of Steel.
Ooh, is that the one that goes straight up
No.
and back? Oh, okay.
That's Superman the Escape.
I don't know.
I was about to
these
say that's
things.
Magic Mountain.
I don't know these things.
Yeah, that's at Magic Mountain, but Superman Ride of Steel
Yeah.
is
Hey,
pretty
Celeste.
epic. It has a 205-foot drop. It doesn't go upside down, but it's fast, and it's got a big drop. And they actually built a identical twin at Six Flags Great America. I want to say it's in like the New England area, but man, that thing is sick. And I had a light blue Superman shirt. I remember it was fun.
Low chat
Nice.
interaction.
How about no chat interaction? No.
Well, whatever. I'm trying my best, guys.
So
Hey,
Suede Knight
Bobo.
is Bobo.
Yes, correct.
He's not sour anymore.
Not on YouTube, apparently.
All right,
both.
good for you,
You
Bobo.
swear.
I
Hey,
guess.
clever. Wait, don't start. I gotta make my popcorn. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, no.
Don't worry. We have an opening skit that'll probably take us a few times. So
Yeah.
you got time.
10 bazillion years.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, whenever, let's see. Did this post everything for you?
What are you
Ashley?
talking about?
And-
Oh,
so I
I'm
gave
not
her
Ashley.
the script. and
Sorry,
I gave her the script and
I
the,
see it. Yes,
But I don't think
see
it-
The one I only
with
see
my
one thing.
X-ray
Yeah.
vision,
So
because
let me
I'm really super.
so let me post the next part.
Nick Cage, Suede Knight with champagne. Is that really a connection?
I was gonna say Nick Cage in the rack. With
A shower, a shave, and a
Feel
feel
of
of a
a
shoot. You're best. Now, Ashley will get that reference, Paul.
What?
I've seen the rack.
Yeah, we watched The Rock a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best.
He's got the best accent.
He does. Superman 3.
Is
There
that the best you can do?
wasn't any Superman movies after 2. Yeah, there weren't. I don't think there were. There are no quests. There's never a piece. No. All right, here we go, guys.
Superman never returned.
Nor was he turned into a Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Thumbs up and ready to go.
He never fought against Batman either, right?
I think there might have been a league of like that's out for justice.
Extraordinary Gentleman. Oh, wait, Sean
Not
Connery's-
I still have
Speaking
yet
of
to see
which.
that movie.
I haven't seen it either. So you're in good company. You're
Is that the best you can do?
Are you guys ready to do this in your best Lana and Superman?
well.
Okay,
I can't-
Power Rangers, let's do it!
All right, that's good.
I'll do my best.
All right.
Your
5.
best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best.
I will whine about my best.
5, 4, 3, 2.
What are you looking at, huh?
Give it more space between.
What are you looking at, huh? What are you looking at, huh? What more space between what?
What are you looking at? Huh?
What are you looking at, huh?
Yeah, more like that. Exactly.
What are you looking at, huh?
Excuse me, Superman.
The heck?
It's a kid. What do you want from me?
No, that's like an elf
Excuse
dwarf thing in the
I was gonna
forest.
say that sounds like Cartman pretending to be a dwarf.
Excuse me, Superman. It's me, Francisco from Future.
That sounds more like King Kai.
Excuse me, Superman. This is Vegeta.
I'm gonna throw my slipper at your
Oh
head.
my word. Okay.
Try just a little bit.
Excuse me.
Not so.
Excuse me.
No.
Nope.
Excuse me.
No. Your normal voice, just
Yeah.
higher. Just a little.
Well,
high.
that sounds more feminine.
Yeah, but it also sounds kid-like.
Excuse me,
The
Superman.
way you did it for Explorers was right on.
I did it for Explorers?
Yes. Go back, re-listen to the first intro of Explorers.
All right, hold on. I'm going to do that right now because I don't remember this at all. Well, come on, Francisco. Retro Rewind Podcast.
Oh, while we're waiting.
Okay, I'm trying to listen, Paul.
Oh, sorry. Otterquan, get out of here.
I don't know. Okay, all right. I guess I could do that. All right. Go back to this. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. So you just did. What are you looking at, huh? Do you want to give that another one?
What are you looking at, huh?
Excuse me, Superman. It's me, Francisco from the future. Superman, tell them you won't hurt anybody.
Francisco, he's changed.
No, maybe he's just sick. Superman, please get better. You're just in a slump. You'll be great again.
He's not listening to you, Francisco.
Yes, he is. He can hear me. He's got super hearing. And that's how I'll listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
That is much better, by the
Okay.
way. That's you're in the ballpark at least there. Other, you were in a whole different world.
I like that take. I want to take it with my, excuse me, Superman.
Excuse
Why?
me.
But go ahead. What are you looking at, huh?
Oh, I will say, Ashley, we sound a bit more like grieved. Like, Francisco, he's changed.
Sure.
Like you're trying to.
It's a trap.
Like
Don't
you're
do it.
It's a trap.
Sorry,
Do you want
that's a
me to
little
go
behind the
Admiral
scenes,
Akbar
folks.
on it? 'Cause, like,
No.
Oh, boo.
You have to
You're no
listen to Ship's Log 16. That's out right now,
Exactly.
folks.
Yes.
You're
exactly.
no fun,
I know,
husband.
I'm no fun.
You're no fun, boo.
But just like you're so desperate you're trying to convince one of our kids. That's what you're doing right now.
when do I ever do this?
You attempt to, I don't know. Okay, so one more time. From
Pleading with an emotional terrorist?
Exactly.
Not gonna do it.
Exactly. Oh, well, not in real life. Anytime, Paul, go.
What are you looking at, huh?
Excuse me, Superman. It's me, Francisco from the future. Superman, tell them you won't hurt anybody.
Francisco, he's changed.
No, maybe he's just sick. Superman, please get better. You're just in a slump. You're just in a slump. You'll be great again.
He's not listening to you, Francisco.
Yes, he is. He can hear me. He's got super hearing. Wait, Paul, why are you doing that to me?
It's cringing.
It is cringy. and
It's
I'm here-
literally making me cringe.
Yeah.
Well, let me finish it. He's got super hearing. And not, dang it. I lost my train of voice. He's got super hearing. And that's how I'll listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Don't worry, Francisco. You'll be great again.
3 now online. How can I help you travel through movie space-time today? Course entered. Superman 3, 1983. Is this correct? Course set. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15... Don't do this again, Francisco!
You already did.
Edna mode.
This is like the fourth one, but
Wow.
who's counting?
I know. It's a good thing no one's keeping track of those things.
At least it's not like a Pokemon.
Thank you, Bubba.
That's the last episode, the Explorers. Check that out, folks.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners. Jeez Louise.
It's not
She's here,
that
too.
Still
easy.
counts as one. Still
Uh-huh.
only counts as one.
Nope.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15 or more years from. It says right there, from.
Cut, paste, move along.
No, I want to get the whole thing.
All right.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I am your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul. Dang. Oh, I didn't see this. Sorry. By your. I am your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine. Look, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's PaulJPowers.com.
Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and for this episode, you can call me Gus if you want to.
Gus, old buddy, genius. Come up and join the fun.
Okay, Gus. And also for this discussion of the film Superman 3, we welcome back aboard. And apparently she got some first aid. She's feeling better, escaping the escape pod that was being used as a trap by this mechanized Jaerod thing. We welcome back aboard Administration Officer of the former pod, Ashley Ruiz. Hey, Ashley.
Aloha, everybody. It's great to be back.
Awesome. Glad to have you back. And now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Superman 3?
Sure. Superman Returns was released June 28th,
Seriously?
2006.
I said 3. How did you confuse Returns for 3?
Because this is the first of all, someone said this is the bad Superman movie, you know, where he's a deadbeat dad, but it's also the sequel to Superman 2, where he sleeps with Lois Lane, and this is the sequel to 2 where he has the kid. So it's
no,
right?
You're confused, unfortunately. Go to Superman I, as you like to say.
Oh.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
Fine.
Yeah, I think it was brought to your attention every day.
Or maybe the day before that.
Superman I was released June 17th, 1983, and it runs 2 hours and 5 minutes and was rated PG. It was directed by Richard Lester and written by David Newman and Leslie Newman, with lead stars being Christopher Reeve, Richard Pryor, Annette O'Toole, and Robert Vaughn. The music was composed by Ken Thorne. And are you ready for the box office trivia?
I am ready. Ashley, you're ready? And everyone who's listening and live in chat now is welcome to join in too. Paul, go for it.
All right. Superman I was made for almost $40 million.
Ooh.
And then it earned over $80 million in the box office.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Is.
Edna mode.
Sorry, that was my bad. You want to put... All right.
No, go ahead.
All right. Given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1983? This time we'll go for the top 50.
Top 50. Ashley, what's your guess?
Somewhere, I don't know, 1983 is like when Return of the Jedi came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I want to say like 28.
28. All right. In chat, we have Midgard. Hey, Midgard. He guesses 11, representing Geek at Arms. Dale is guessing 20. And, of course, Baba with 42.
Yeah.
It's not a podcast box office guessing game without Baba guessing 42. And then he said 50. This is
fine.
not Bill and Ted who will save Generation X, but
Sorry.
69, so be it. You want to lose?
69, dude.
Oh my gosh. For me, I'm going to guess 21. Go blackjack. And where did it actually fall, Paul?
It actually came in at number 8, according to
What?
thenumbers.com.
What? I had an 8
Wow.
in my guess. It was just too
It
high.
did well.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes, I think, is Midgard? Yeah, Midgard got the closest with 11.
Yeah, that's a surprise
Good job.
to me.
Yeah, for me too. But all right. Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind melt or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert. Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Christopher Reeve.
Right, Webster, the game's over.
And Richard Pryor.
Oh, see, I'm not with them, Superman.
Could fool me, mister.
As you've never seen them before.
You're going to go down in history as the man who killed Superman.
And this time is going to be the best time of all. Superman 3, rated PG.
Thank you, brother.
Starts Friday, June 17th. Please check newspapers for a theater near you.
Yes, make sure you check newspapers for a listing near you. Except I don't get the newspaper anymore. But I do have memories of said newspapers, and that commercial probably brings back some memories for you about Superman 3. So let's combine our memories of this film in our memory and mind meld synopsis. A Rube Goldberg intro that leaves a man trapped in a car filling with water, and Superman saves them. Superman saves a chemical plant with a thin sheet of ice. Then Richard Pryor, the computer genius, gives him some red kryptonite and becomes super bad. I am McLovin. What? Oh, super bad. Okay, all right. After defeating his bad self, Superman has to defeat a computer that tries to take over the world with the acid from the chemical plant. I mean that is a lot of that is right, but it was not red kryptonite. It was still green tar kryptonite. So those memories were decepted. But based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what reign did they lead you to predict for this film before you rewatched it, or in the case of Ashley, this is your first time watching it? What was your prediction for Superman 3? Let's start with Ashley.
Tragic,
really? Now, and for
Come out
context,
of the
though,
gate.
you're not a Superman fan at all, right?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, you don't?
Superman-
Is it that you don't like Superman, or are you just it's not my? No, I think it's not. I'm just not a fan.
I actually do not like Superman. He's a bit too super for my taste.
Well,
The fact that his only adversary, the only thing that will have any effect on him is kryptonite, to only have one weakness is pretty sad. And honestly, because of our golden son, he gets to benefit tremendously. And he's so super. No, I don't like him.
wow.
So you didn't like Superman, and you didn't think you would like this film, but it'll be interesting to see if it wins you over.
Yeah, I didn't think that I was gonna like it, and even though I've heard good things about Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman and how he's considered one of the first comic book movies that came into be with him portraying Superman, and it's iconic. I'm just I don't know.
All right, Paul, what was your prediction?
I enjoyed this as a kid, so I said classic.
Classic. Okay. I'm middle of the road, guys, because I like Superman. I like Superman movies. I remember liking aspects of this movie, so I thought it might be fairly good, but I don't remember loving it. I wanted to always watch it. So I predicted it nostalgic. And it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into the things we liked most about Superman 3. Let's spin a power.
Best bits.
And let's start with our guest as we like to. Ashley, what is one thing you liked about Superman 3?
Okay, so one of the things that I enjoyed a lot about this movie was actually the scenery.
Oh,
just
okay,
how
yeah.
many locations this movie decided to visit, from creating such just a bustling
Metropolis?
city of Metropolis.
Yeah.
And from the simplicity of Smallville to all the various locations that we see Glen Canyon, and we see the setup where they're going to set up.
Glen Canyon?
Yes, he's
Yes.
in here too. The Glen Canyon.
I thought it was the Grand Canyon.
No, it's in Utah.
Oh, really?
Where they are is in Utah, from what I read, but it could be the Grand
I
Canyon.
know
mean,
what?
Yeah, of course.
I saw the film, and they say Dewdrop Inn. So somewhere there's an inn called Dewdrop, and that's where it's located.
Wow.
So yeah, I won't claim to know that location, but just
There's
very
rocks.
Yes, there's rocks
And
there's a
sky.
river and a big old ditch, but all the places, all the different scenes in this movie were just very fun to look at.
Yeah.
From scenes in the Atlantic Ocean with the tankers to the random snow slope on top of a skyscraper, the bustling metropolis to the small towns,
To the straight tower of Pisa.
the straight tower of Pisa, to Columbia, just all these different sets across the world. It was very cool to see.
Awesome. Very cool. Paul, what was cool to see for you in this movie?
I liked the plot element that is often used in other movies about stifling a bit
fractions of a penny.
Yes,
Yeah.
like they reference it directly in Office Space, but I've seen it. I can't remember how many times throughout you know, the
I've seen
past
it.
decades in
Yeah.
TV shows and
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
I mean, it's in the movie Hackers. It's used quite often, but
Mm-hmm.
here for me, this is where it originates. I know that it's been used before in other places, but
was
not
it?
quite
Okay.
like with it is with the computer. You know,
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
fractions. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a term for that type of hacking called like a salami slicing or
that's it. Salami slicing.
Yeah. So that's just a little factoid for y'all.
Yep.
So you like that plot element. For me, speaking of computers, I really like the computer that they designed, the production design for the, like, I have it as my background for those watching, but I thought it was just super cool looking how they made this mega computer. It doesn't make sense. Like, I think back then they were still thinking that the computer would just have to get bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, I think it's Isaac Asimov that has or it's Philip K. Dick, or one of them has a short story about this computer that they have to build in, and it takes over. It's just the size of a planet, so they can do as much computational power as it needs
Coruscant.
to. Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
Coruscant. But obviously that's not how computers got to be.
I don't know. You haven't
Here
been
in-
to Coruscant.
That's a good point. All right. Well, that was a long, long time ago. So
In a galaxy
technology's
far, far
come a
away.
long way since then.
Yes.
But I just thought it was really spectacular looking. It looked very sci-fi and cool and futuristic, and certainly a retro tech nostalgia look to it. Not that they were going for that. I think they were going for a very like modern computer look, but looking back, it certainly has that flavor to it. And I feel like it still holds up today for that. It's like synonymous, I'd say, with it's not as glamorous, but like the Whopper and War Games or things like
which also
that.
came out in this year.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Which
Yeah.
both are ahead of its time, in my opinion, for computers and what they can do and yeah.
Absolutely. So that was something I appreciated about this movie. Ashley, what's something else you appreciated? Was it computers? Was it the plot? Something else?
It wasn't the plot and it wasn't computers, but I really did appreciate a lot of the supporting characters in this movie, specifically Annette O'Toole as Lana Lang. Like, she was
Yes.
just charming, and I really like how she interacted with Clark Kent and with Superman. She was just sweet, and she was kind of like a breath of fresh air with all the other characters who were just slightly over the top. The villain just being like, it's all in my best benefit, and I just want all the money I can possibly get, and anyone who double-crossed me, blah, blah. But she was just real, and she felt so grounded in being a single mom, and she was just sweet. All the things that she did for the class reunion, I really enjoyed her. And it was nice to have some time with the crew at the Daily Planet, the cameraman, and just a little just a teeny bit with him, going on the bus with Clark and getting in on the action. Jimmy Olsen, the cameraman.
That's
I
it,
had
yeah.
to remember. And then having just the few scenes with Lois and then their editor. It was fun. And how he really didn't want to pick the bingo numbers. It's like, why do I have to do this? And it was like aspects of people's jobs who were like, I didn't sign up for this. Why are you making me do this? So there was a lot of realism to those characters, and they were really enjoyable because they grounded the film for me, because there were some parts that weren't so grounded, and they brought us back down to earth.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna jump on that because that's also my next like.
That's not my next like too, but okay, go ahead.
All right,
go first.
I'm interrupting you then. And it's the relationship between Lana and Clark, played by Annette O'Toole and Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Their interaction is just so well done and so innocent and so fun to watch. It's my favorite interaction of any love interests in any Superman film.
Oh yeah,
the way these two interact is just so charming and wonderful. I love it.
And I especially enjoyed the contrast with Lois Lane is in love with Superman, but I love that Lana was, it seemed, in love with Clark. Which I just really I appreciate that, because that's like, I love you for your heart, not just what you can do, essentially.
Exactly.
That was really precious.
And the fact that they had a past together, they went to the same high school, and they have this shared history. They're from the same town. It was just really sweet and wholesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick sidebar because this.
Next.
But I need another week. No, I'm curious. Who do you like better as Lana? Annette O'Toole or Kristen? I think it's Kristen Cruick who played Lana in Smallville.
They are so different in their
They
characters.
are so
Sure.
different.
If I
on the hot seat, I'll play my cards. I think Annette O'Toole plays Lana a bit better, just a hair better. But my vote's gonna go with Annette O'Toole.
Again, I have to go back to the relationship and the interaction. It's just so charming between Annette O'Toole and Christopher Reeve that I'm gonna have to go with Annette on this. As wonderful as Kristen is, it's that's because they're so different. But sorry, Kristen.
No, Annette O'Toole, hands down. And I mean, I can say that I've actually, despite not being the biggest Superman fan, I have actually seen all of the seasons of Smallville just because. Surprise, mind blown. But I think
you actually love Superman.
No, I don't love Superman, but I really enjoyed the twists and turns that Smallville took because it was his character journey leading up to him being Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He was this very well-grounded person who had super abilities, but he wasn't donning an over-the-top costume.
Exactly,
and people didn't know what he was doing, so they weren't overly reliant on him, expecting him to save the world. So it was his humble beginnings, and I love a story that kind of has a hero's journey. So that's why I love Smallville. But yeah, Annette O'Toole wins hands down because there's just this wholesome quality in their relationship, and it feels way less one-sided than the relationship that Clark has with Lana in his high school years.
Yes, that's a great way.
Yeah,
And
it's
not to say
mutual,
that,
and it's really sweet to see. It's not that she doesn't, but it's different.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's way different.
And it looks like everyone here live in chat is in agreement. Dale agrees O'Toole. Who will say Generation X agrees with Ashley about O'Toole. Midgard says O'Toole. So we're all in good company. And who will say Generation X? Excuse me. Zabe says, when your choice is between Annette O'Toole and Margot Kidder, it's an easy choice. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and I love this comment about plus she gets to be Ma Kent. So yeah, like now I have this connection that I didn't have before. So that's really, really cool to be like, aw, she ends up playing Martha Kent. This is so sweet. I love Annette O'Toole because she shows up on so many things that I watch. So I love her.
Yeah. I have nothing else to add to what you guys said other than, I found them super sweet together. Seeing their relationship sort of blossom was a beautiful thing. I wish it would have ended with them like married. It seemed like he is ostensibly proposing with that diamond ring, but
that was a big rock.
I know that. I wonder if that would have upset
it was from Superman.
I know.
I wonder if that would have upset a lot of comic book purists because he ultimately ends up with Lois and Golden Age, right? Okay. Anyway, let's talk about what's most golden about this movie. Yeah, that's a pretty good segue. I'm going to start with Paul this time. What did you love most about Superman 3? Your classic maker, as it were.
The iconic scene of bad Superman versus good Clark Kent. You have the duels battling it out. It's just so iconic, brought to screen. It's fun action. It's on a physical level and it's on a mental level. So and I thought it was really well done. It's fun to watch. Best scene in the film. For me.
See, I remembered really looking forward to that scene.
Well, you can't look forward to it too much.
It didn't hold up for me.
Yeah.
It's certainly not. It's not on my dislikes or anything like that.
No, but like I said, it's also like a cerebral. The idea of it and the iconography of it is really powerful. And they have yet to do something like that, which I don't think they should mimic it. But that cerebral in the movies, it's not often seen. So
that's funny. So I had a spiritual speculation for later, but you saying that just makes me think of another one. So
good.
Ashley, I'm curious. You not having baggage to that scene, whether or not as your class maker, what did you? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to ask whether you or not you like the scene. I'm curious if you thought he was literally split into two and it was two actual physical forms, or if this was us seeing into his psyche, his head. How did that play in your mind?
And there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
As someone who had no connection, no context for this scene, it really just felt like it was kind of a look into his psyche, and that he was battling against different parts of himself. And as not having any exposure, I'm just like, okay, that's interesting. And then all of a sudden one was gone. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I guess the way he disappears does make it seem like it's more of a sort of an inner mental aspect. But then is it like, well, spoilers for Fight Club. Anyone who hasn't seen Fight Club.
But I know the spoilers.
Okay.
So I definitely understand. But it's just like, it's kind of like battling against all the different parts of yourself. They're always going, there's always parts of you that aren't always in together. Like there's always a part. And you can even think about it like it's kind of like sin versus holy and all the things. So
yeah, I'm just wondering if he like threw himself into like the Crusher and stuff, or how that all
like what it would have actually looked like if it didn't. If it was
if
it was the people watching from the junkyard.
Exactly.
Was it just Clark cramming himself into things, or was it like the selfish Superman just getting all barred and bruised? It's
Exactly.
Like,
That's what
which one did it look like? I would have loved to have just seen that.
Yeah.
That would have been fun for me.
So I was curious about that. Paul, what's your take on it? Do you feel like it's mental or actual physical manifestation?
I like to think of it as actual physical. Just that's
okay.
what fake kryptonite does to an alien.
Okay. Interesting.
And Zay brought this up, and I was going to bring it up earlier. It's Christopher Reeve's arguably best acting in his fight as evil Superman. He is so different than any other version of Clark Kent or Superman. The acting is just up a top notch up there. So
yes, I imagine that probably was fun, or at least interesting, to get to exercise that different aspect of an evil Superman, almost a Bizarro, not quite a Bizarro Superman, but yeah,
absolutely. Could not agree more.
And Ashley, what was the most agreeable thing to you about this film? What was your classic maker?
Well, here's the fun part. Christopher Reeve was actually my classic maker.
Oh, really?
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So he was my classic maker. Just the range that he showed in playing two parts of the same coin, being both Superman and Clark Kent, and then being able to flex those acting muscles and then have the evil Superman. So it was interesting to see him essentially play three different characters that were all connected and all technically one person. But it was so interesting to see, and just see him play against himself in that junkyard, whether you consider it physical or a dive into his psyche where he's feeling fractured and they're battling for control. I don't know enough about tar-based kryptonite to come to any logical conclusion. I know nothing about kryptonite or all the different forms of kryptonite to know. But just based on what I was seeing, he was so good. He was so sweet as Clark.
Yeah.
And just seeing him interact with the people that he grew up with in Smallville, to the news team at the Daily Planet, to being Superman and rescuing Ricky and interacting with all the people in Smallville and saving the day. Like, it was just so cool to see Christopher Reeve in this context. And
absolutely.
He's so iconic as Superman, and but he also is so good as Clark.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just so believable as both of those people, and that's so hard in superhero movies sometimes, because when you've got the duality of it all, when you've got a very famous like straight man like Clark Kent and Superman, or Bruce Wayne and Batman, they either do one thing really well and they might do the other part really, really well. They rarely do both very well.
Yeah.
But Christopher Reeve is both. He pulls it off, and he pulls it off with gravitas. Like, he does it so well, and I can see why they made so many Superman movies with him.
Absolutely.
Because he's the best. Oh, I'm sorry. That was my opinion. Sorry.
Well, what I thought was the best about this movie is neither of those. I mean, I certainly like Christopher Reeve. I think he may be my favorite Superman. I mean, Tom Welling pretty high up there, but he's mainly Clark Kent, not Superman.
No, not you. I was talking to the chat.
Oh, okay. No.
They said Ricky had it coming. I was like,
Did he though?
wow.
I'm sorry. The kid who played him, his name is Paul, so I have to side with him. Sorry.
Okay.
Wait, did he hurt Ricky or something? He had
No,
to come
Ricky
in
got
with what?
hurt trying to chase after Buster the
Yeah,
dog.
Okay. So that is not my classic maker.
Oh, him
My
getting
classic-
hurt is not your classic maker? That's good.
No, I know. My classic maker is actually the whole chemical plant set piece.
Oh,
I
that's a
thought
fun
that was
one.
just like it looked like real explosions.
Yep.
If they use miniatures is very, very few. I like the idea of setting up this chemical, whatever acid it was, I forget what it was called, like bromide acid or something. As that was going to be the thing that would defeat the supercomputer at the end. I like that.
That it tied back.
It tied back. I thought him blowing a sheet of ice and then carrying it by the edge was really, really gimmicky.
I thought so too. I'm like, okay, so this is how he's gonna do it. Interesting.
I mean, I think it would have been interesting if he carried it from like under like center mass or something. I think that would have been a little bit more believable than just the tip. But all right, whatever.
Hey, when you have that strength and it's that solidly frozen, it can work.
Just do it. I mean, there's a fire underneath. It's gonna melt it anyway. So what does it matter?
Hold on, let me get to the
whatever.
center. So Francisco says it looks better.
That's right. Thank you, Chris. But overall, I liked what he was doing. It was like this is what I want to see Superman doing: rescuing people out of a situation they can't be rescued out of themselves.
Right.
Like getting Jimmy Olsen, who's breaking his leg because he's not following the rules.
He had it coming.
Superman doing what
Jimmy
Superman
did
does
have
best.
it coming.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Him
Sorry,
doing what
Jimmy.
he's doing best. So I thought that was just great. And like you thinking on his toes, okay, there's the lake here. That's how we'll get the water. It's just the perfect amalgamation of what I want to see in a Superman film. Wish I could have been seeing more of that in this movie.
More
Not
freezing
to-
of lakes and putting out fires.
The overall sense of that.
Superman
not
in
those-
overalls. That's what you want. All right.
Superman doing super feats.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
Ashley.
More
Well
on
put.
that later.
Yes.
All right.
But oh my goodness. But there wasn't more of that. And so maybe there are some things like less of that we'll get into our dislike section. But you know what? I forgot something else that I have to let you all know about.
Oh, shock.
Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
That's great, Francisco. In fact, they helped us review the first Superman movie on episode
Oh yeah, that's right.
166 or something like that.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Which is exactly why it's a perfect connection to this. You don't even have to ask, Paul.
But why? But they're not part of Superman 3.
Well,
Why
they
is
could
they
have been.
alike
They
for
were busy.
Superman 3? Yeah, that's true.
Okay, they spent this whole like year or something in what they called the Superman district, where they were viewing like Superman, the what was it, Fleischl, the animated
Fleischer,
that
the ones
too.
that we were on helping review.
Yeah, them. They covered those. They covered a bunch of the movies, a lot of the different series. So in that way, it's connected, Paul. Okay,
It's connected, but what does that have to do with Superman 3?
You know what? I'm missing half a cent of my paycheck, so it's probably going to them. So that's how it's connected. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Fine. How about some trivia? Would that be connected enough for you, Paul?
Yeah, that would be much better.
All right. Let's get into some trivia for this. Sorry about that.
Sorry about what?
Nothing. It's all fine here. How are you? Did you all realize that Robert Vaughn, who played the antagonist Ross Webster in Superman 3, once stated in an interview that after the film was released, he decided to no longer show up at his son Cassidy's school because the students were horrified that he almost killed Superman. So my question to you all is, what superhero would you want to be known for almost defeating, not killing, but almost defeating in the minds of school children? Like if you went
Defeating
to,
Superman? Defeating
No,
who?
any superhero. What
What
superhero,
would you want to be?
kids to think you almost defeated?
Oh, that I almost defeated.
Yeah, you, Paul, you, Ashley, exactly.
Oh.
So
I don't want to be a bad guy almost
Nope.
killing.
No, thank you.
Come on, guys, answer the question.
Because here's the thing.
You could pick
Yes.
a superhero that you don't like.
No, you have to get the job done. Almost doesn't count. It only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Fine. Which superhero do you want to actually have defeated, Ashley?
Well, the comic already killed Superman once, so.
So you can't kill him again.
Nope.
Thank you. Here in chat, thank you guys. So Booster Gold, I have no idea who that is, Midgard, but thank you. Who will save Generation X is Aquaman. You would get a parade.
I don't know. Are you talking Jason Momoa Aquaman, or are you talking like Blondie from like the
Both.
Justice League?
I don't like either of them.
Okay. So if I could kill
Batman,
superheroes, no.
Jill,
Here's what I do. I'd
Okay.
probably kill the Wonder Twins because they're just.
Oh,
You don't necessarily
you
have
leave
to
them and their
kill
monkey
them.
alone.
You don't necessarily have to
Yeah,
kill them,
yeah.
but defeat
Can
them.
I at least leave them in an intensive care unit because they
Sure.
are.
Oh,
that
don't
works.
hurt them. I'll tell you what. If I were to be known for almost killing somebody, I would go with someone like Deadpool. So
Oh, okay.
that I mean, you can't really kill him, but like almost. But you know who
Yeah.
can?
Defeating is also like exiling them to like Mars or something.
Wonder-
You don't-
Wonder Twins.
Or playing war with them, and haha, my 4 of spades beat your 2 of clubs. I win.
Yeah. No, it'd be the Wonder Twins for sure because I remember just watching Super Friends as a kid, just reruns on Cartoon Network, and I'm like, these twins annoy me, and I
Are
was
the
like,
best.
No,
what are you
they-
talking about?
no, they annoyed me so much as a kid, and I'm like, okay,
kidding me?
this one can transform into any animal, and then
Yes,
this other one
the
gets
sister.
like the short end of the stick. I'm like, cool, you can be a bucket of water if you really want
Yes,
to.
any form of water. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome. Yeah, so
I won't tell you how many episodes it took me to realize they could only change into animals or water.
I'm like, okay, so what would I do? I would stick whatever animal in the block of water and put them in a freezer and lock the freezer, and then that would be close enough.
But
to
Gleek
do.
the monkey would get him out. So
Not if I put him in a cage.
yeah, he's a monkey. He can get out and rescue his. How are they?
Okay, I've never seen this
Anyway.
cartoon, so let's move
I'll
on.
I'll introduce you to it, and you'll feel the same way about the Wonder Twins.
You never
maybe.
seen this cartoon behind me right
No,
here?
I
oh
haven't,
my
Paul.
gosh.
I mean, come on.
And the
All the
uneducated
justice,
people here. Sorry.
The League of Doom. I love the League of.
How do you know about the League of Doom and the Wonder Twins, but don't like Super? All right, never mind. I'll leave it as.
And
is.
I was telling Francisco the other day, like when Superman is actually part of like a collective group, he's tolerable, and I like him. Okay. It's
That's
just-
because he's not featured as much.
Exactly. When he's
All
by
right.
himself, I'm like, But when he's part of a team, Superman is a great team player, and like he leads, but he doesn't like push people out of the way. Like he's a balanced leader. I respect that, and I like the Super Friends minus the Wonder Twins.
And Aquaman.
Aquaman is fine.
That's some great trivia to know about you, Ashley.
Yeah. I suppose that was good trivia, Francisco.
But what
But
the-
no,
wow.
no, that was cool about Robert Vaughn and his
Yeah.
kids
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
school. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought so too. Anything else you had to say, Paul?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was your line.
I was trying to lead you in.
Superman's a better leader.
Oh.
JK.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Superman. Aye.
All right. First off, James Felix says a semi-funny, weird Superman film. Then this happened, and he posted a picture of Vera Webster, the main bad guy's sister, becoming a robot, and yeah, that is so scarring. It was for me as a kid, anyway.
I've heard that, and to me it was fine, especially growing up in the 80s. Like, there's
Well,
a
you're
lot
like-
of creature stuff
You're
around,
like
but
4
that
years
never...
older than me, Paul. But so
Well, that's
whatever.
true. But I know people older than me that they thought it
You
was scary.
Watch this when you're 2, and you tell me how it goes, okay?
Happened before I existed, so.
Maybe
Yeah.
3, because I probably didn't see this in theaters. So
All right. Michael Fraley goes on to say, Superman versus Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Ding, ding.
Wardale White says, first Superman movie I saw on the big screen. I was 10 when it came out. While there are many reasons to not like the movie, it had some great and cool moments. Superman rescuing the chemical plant? Yes, Dale. Him finding himself in the junkyard? Yep.
Yes,
and
Dale.
Superman versus the computer climax, to name a few.
Yeah. Who will say Generation X the podcast? The entire podcast comments and says, I remember when they used an MX missile to attack Superman in the Grand Canyon.
See,
and
he thought it was the Grand Canyon too.
Well, he also said it's an XM missile, so maybe he knows, I don't know. And he said it made an explosion like a stick of dynamite. Yeah. The producers had no clue what an intercontinental ballistic nuclear missile would do to the Grand Canyon. But to be fair, when the matchup is Superman versus Richard Pryor, you know what to expect.
Yeah. Jeremy Shields says, the almost Brainiac moment when the sister gets taken by the computer.
Yeah. Ken Cummings says, I thought maybe it would be nostalgic. I watched 50 minutes of it and was like, no, this is awful. I know it was supposed to be a comedy, but I was not laughing. I had one snicker at Richard Pryor as funny, but most of his other stuff was just a lead balloon hitting the floor. This came out during college for me, and I know I had to have seen it. Tragic, all capital letters, exclamation mark.
And then Dustin Warford finishes this up by saying, the weird computer fight, probably my least favorite Superman film. Sad
What?
Emoji.
Well, then you've sheltered yourself, because there's quite a few if you bring in the animated ones.
Well, thank you all for sharing your memories of Superman 3. But I think some of you lead us right into the things we didn't like about this film. So let's get into our...
Worst whoops.
Next.
Exactly. Ashley, I'm going to start with you. What was something you didn't like about Superman 3? I know there's probably not many things to pick from, but try dig deep and give us one thing you didn't like.
I was going to say, unless it was opposite day, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with me finding things
okay.
that I
My
did
bad.
not like.
You know what? I'm wrong sometimes. It happens occasionally.
Yeah, you're right occasionally as well, but in this time, yes, there are plenty of dislikes. And let us actually start out from the very beginning.
Oh,
We're introduced to the character of Gus, and he is at the unemployment office. He's set up to be this person that has failed at job after job,
Yes.
takes a computer course, and then all of a sudden, he is this computer programmer extraordinaire,
Yeah.
like on this like god tier hacking level. And
Gus, old buddy, genius. Come up and join the fun.
exactly. So the fact that we see him go from slacker to hacker is really unbelievable. And
Well, how many genius hackers do you know that are not also slackers in other areas of life?
well, that's true, but there's nothing that sets him up to be believable as a computer hacker. He takes one course.
This is a Superman movie. It's not supposed to be believable.
No. he can do a yo-yo like the best of them. That's got to set you up for computer greatness,
Yeah,
right?
he can use the
Absolutely.
yo-yo to like pull the other guy's arm into the computer slots at the same time, or even slide down a rope without hurting his hands.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no.
amazing.
So, yeah, Gus Gorman does nothing for me. Richard Pryor, I didn't laugh a single time watching
Yeah.
this movie,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
me either.
I know.
You know what I laughed at? When Clark opened the car door and hit Richard Pryor in the gut. It was just one of those slapstick moments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was nothing in this film that Richard Pryor bought that made me even chuckle. It was just.
How about when he was wearing that big cowboy hat? You didn't
No.
have
I
a little
was like,
smile?
I know. I was like, oh my gosh,
It was
why?
No, it was painful. A lot of the gimmicks that his character reached for to make things happen, dressing up like he was in the military, wearing that hat, like that was just like, this was painful. So when he was on the stage and he was dressed in the military garb and he's wearing those pants that pinned out on the flared out on the side, I'm just like, this is painful.
Well, thank the Lord for Superman.
Yeah, it's just, I'm like, I don't find him funny in this.
Yeah. I didn't either.
He's
Well-
regarded as like a comedic genius in his time, but I don't see that in this film.
Yeah.
And Gus is just,
To be fair, he didn't write the film, although
I
he
know
did
he
ad
didn't.
lib.
I know he didn't, but it didn't make it I can only just blame him for the portrayal and blame the bad writing. So.
Indeed.
So one of your dislikes is Richard Pryor. Okay.
Gus Gorman, yes.
Gus
Gorman.
Gus
Okay.
Gorman.
character
His
Gus Gorman.
portrayal as Gus
His-
Gorman.
Yes, his portrayal
Okay.
as Gus Gorman, just because it's like, there's not enough story, there's not enough character development to make me believe that he went from this man who was on unemployment for 35 weeks straight and couldn't last more than 28 minutes working at a fast food job, or like lasting a couple hours on the job. It just wasn't believable. You take one course and suddenly you just know it all. You know how to make this code and figure out how to write code to take half a cent away from everybody and then somehow end up with like $80,000+.
I wonder if there'd be some way of seeding his character more in that unemployment office where she's like
Give us a montage. Even a montage would have been better.
Well, no, I was gonna say like you only were at the fast food place for 28 minutes. Well, yeah, because I was trying to tell them how to get their cash registers to be more efficient or something, and they didn't like me back talking to them. Something like those little bits could at least see that there's a possibility of him being great at computers.
It's not there. It's not. The fact that you see him and how we're introduced to him, and then how he bums the light off of someone else at the office, just like, I don't believe him.
Yeah.
Could have fooled me, mister.
Paul. Paul with the pro soundboarding. What didn't you like about Superman 3?
When you said the beginning, I thought you were going to say the opening credits, which I think is a great opening credits because not that it has a lot to do with the film, but it's not white text on black background, and this is where all that started. You know, this is a rehash of our very first episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Yep.
Good luck finding the original, but that's why we're doing this. But I thought it's great. It's fun. Turn your brain off. Enjoy the chaos, the silly. What I don't like is the Superman 3 title itself is kind of blurred, and it's
I didn't like
hard
that whole blurring effect.
Yeah. It's hard to see. It's like you look, I'm all for like a good title screen, whatever, you know. And the way they had it, like even in space, like the first movie or something, fine, that's great, it's clear. The whole blurring effect with the titles at the beginning is just didn't start well for me.
I totally get that. I thought it was just sort of, I was more ambivalent about it, but I get how that would be annoying, Paul.
Yeah.
For me, something that didn't make sense was the timing of things. And I actually, there's a trivia, as I ran through trivia about Superman 3 that actually went more into this. What I had put down was it's so weird how he's just randomly, he's in Smallville one day. It's like it goes from the not saving the truck falling down, and the people are like, "Oh, if you could get out in here 1 minute earlier," it's like, "Well, thanks a lot. You know what? I'm Superman one person." Now it was his fault because he could have left earlier from Lana's because he's under the influence of the bad kryptonite.
But what if he was helping somebody else with something else?
Yeah, that's a good point. But it smash cuts from that to him in Italy all of a sudden. I'm like,
yeah,
why? Why are we in Italy now? We're going to the Tower of Pisa, not pizza, Pisa. And then he goes and blows out the thing at the Olympics.
The torch. Yeah.
Which, again, why aren't they seeding? If it's the Olympics, that seems like it should be a story like Metropolis prepares for the next Olympics or something.
How long do you want this movie to be? This is a montage.
They're in the newsroom. Margot Kidder's there saying, "Oh, I'm going to lose my best reward on the eve of covering the Olympics." Something like that. It's like 2 seconds you have to do just to make it.
Francisco.
Yes.
This is sounding more and more like Francisco's Fabulous Fan.
This is more like Francisco's Fabulous Fixes. Yeah. Exactly, Ashley.
Trademark that now.
But there's actually the trivia I read said like, yeah, the Olympics would have been like 84, but the class reunion is like 85 the Smallville reunion based on their class of 65. Yeah. And then there was one other element like that was like more when the movie came out was 83.
Turn
So
your brain off to enjoy the film.
no. I engage my brain.
All right, you're right.
Paralysis.
Time-wise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And
So-
you want like a whole movie around each segment of the montage. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I just why? Why did he go to Italy of all places?
He's trying to fix things. He's grappling
Not
between
then.
this. Yes, he's been exposed to the bad kryptonite by then. That's why he's late to the bridge. He's trying to grapple between this good and evil within
Sure.
him. So he's trying to figure that out, and he sees, oh, there's a leaning tower. I can try to fix that to help.
But there's no reason he'd be all the way over in Italy. to
Dude,
even
the
see
man
that.
flies all over the world all the time in split seconds. Haven't you seen Superman 1 where he flies so fast in a second? It's like
I knew
50
that
times
was coming.
around the earth. I mean, he goes from Smallville, Kansas to Metropolis in, real quick. So that's like half the country.
All right, that's fair. Paul, why don't you give me real quick your next dislike?
My next dislike is, I don't know if because I'm older or I'm watching this in 4K HD TV stuff, but the effects do not seem to hold up well. A lot of it looks cookie cutter, the blue / green screen.
Yep.
It's easy to tell what's been cut out, the projection screen behind them. A lot of it's not just a cutout, it's like the blurring of the lines that are really obvious.
Yeah.
Kind of like my hands now who are watching the video. A lot of the scenes are like that, unfortunately, and it's very distracting, at least to a modern day audience. So I don't remember the effects being that bad in the first two movies, especially the first one, but they used the same crew for the special effects. Now, some people had passed away by this time, but they try to use the same people involved, so that it's easier, it's more shortcut. Oh, we've done this before kind of a thing. But I don't know why, but the effects certainly don't hold up as much.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Paul. Again, that's not something that made my dislike list as much. My stuff is more plot and nitpicks, but yeah, I can totally get with you there that it doesn't make sense.
Oh, plot. Have you read the original treatment of this?
I haven't. No. Want to give us a rundown real quick?
Oh, let's see. So, by the way, this was right after Superman 2, and it's just a brief treatment. Let's see what I can remember.
Okay.
Basically, it more takes place in space as it centers on Supergirl, who's not Superman's cousin at this time. She also escapes from the exploding Krypton, but goes to a dark planet, and in that planet is Brainiac, who's all dressed in black. He's this computerized smart guy.
James
Where
Marsters.
I'm trying to think where it goes because it goes all over. Basically, there's a lot of space stuff. Him and for some reason, Brainiac and Supergirl go to Earth, and Superman falls in love with Supergirl, and they have a chemistry kind of thing. But Brainiac also falls in love with Supergirl and wants her, so he takes over with one of his machines to turn him bad. That's where one of the bad things stays is a leftover from that. And makes him do bad stuff, and so much that the people of the Earth turn to Supergirl and say, "Look, you got to stop Superman because he's like destroying the Earth," kind of a thing. Mr. Mxyzptlk or Mxyzptlk, depending on what your iteration comes in, and I forget how, but somehow Brainiac has a castle, makes his home in the castle in Europe, and takes Superman under his control there. He traps him there. Superman reaches out to Lana and Jimmy because Lois had gone to like Korea or something. By the way, if this is too boring, you can skip this. But anyway, over to Europe, and then Mr. Mxyzptlk or Mxyzptlk somehow takes him back to takes it back in time into the medieval times of the castle, and takes away their powers. So you have Mixoplex. No, I'm sorry. You have Brainiac versus Superman without powers fighting for Supergirl, and they do it like a joust kind of a thing. So all this to say is that they thought it was way too convoluted, but the plot could have been worse, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe I need to rethink my trash maker.
As awesome as those other characters are, the way that it's so convoluted
that's way out there.
Yeah.
Hocus pocus. That plot has no focus.
Very true. Was there any part of Superman 3's actual plot, though, Ashley, that you thought had no focus or was otherwise just really not compelling?
Okay, I wouldn't say that it didn't have any focus, but in all honesty, the villain that we got in this film felt lackluster to me.
Now, who's the villain? Are you talking?
So there's a couple different definitions that you can apply to villain in this film. There's a couple because we have a few.
Yep.
Yeah.
No one does anything alone in this movie. So the main villain, the person who's trying to achieve something at the greatest to the greatest of their ability is actually this tycoon.
Yes.
What is his name?
Ross
Webster.
Not Robert Vaughn. His character name. Yeah, Ross Webster. Exactly.
So Webster, like, he's just apparently him and his sister, they were made completely original for this plot.
Yes.
And he's a good actor. Like, the actor that portrayed Webster, very good, very charming in a very diabolical way, but
very good, Robert Vaughn.
Yes, but his character was very boring, and his sister was very boring, and the fact that they were only doing it to gain as much control and have as much power, it was the classic villain scenario. But the fact that they made a boring original character, had a boring familial tie to another boring character, and then had a unfunny minion just hack into a computer, I don't know. I've seen more compelling villains in an Austin Powers movie. So they
1 million villains.
Yeah, and the thing to me is Superman, like the franchise, has a plethora of villains. They could have gone in so many different directions and actually used some of the properties that they had to actually make
baby.
The fact that this is the only Superman film in the original quartet that doesn't have Lex Luthor just says
Yeah, pretty much.
By the way, there's a fun fact that this came out about a year before DC rebooted their entire universe in the comics. And before this, Lex Luthor was just like a super genius, like madman kind of a thing.
Fine.
It wasn't until after this movie and after this reboot a year later that he became this businessman, this head corporation. So Robert Vaughn's character of Ross Webster is the prototype for the Lex Luthor we now know today.
Yeah, no, I'll take Lex Luthor from back in the day, the one that we got in the Super Friends. Oh, he was the bald guy that like just ran the Lake of Doom, and he had his bald head and his little outfit, and he was just like,
I like him more, like especially with Michael Rosenbaum's portrayal, like the businessman
absolutely, and he's shrewd.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
He's definitely got a villainous streak, but yeah, honestly, when it just push comes to shove, the villain was a little lackluster. Yeah. Like he's like, I want to have all the power, I want to have all the money, I want to take revenge against Columbia because they didn't play ball, so I'm gonna punish them by having my super genius hacker hack into this weather. Like perform weather from this, what was it? Vulcan was a satellite?
Vulcan, yeah.
It was a satellite. So, we can use this satellite and create this weather, and they're going to suffer by saying no to me. It was just, okay. So this is a revenge scheme, is it? You already have a ski slope on top of a building. What more could you want, man? You're making unreal things happen already.
No! Here, let me help you.
I thought you were going to play the greed sound effect, Paul, but all right.
I don't have that one. I don't have everything.
You don't watch the movie and just take each bit, each line of dialogue?
I have a plethora of sound effects at my disposal.
And I mean, here's what I'll say, Paul, to that trivial bit that you gave.
Yeah.
Honestly, like having Lex Luthor take on that character trait, it just made Lex Luthor better. And everyone who subsequently played Lex Luthor still did it better than Robert Vaughn did as Ross Webster.
Yeah.
Because they're more
But he was the
believable.
first. Like you said, I thought he did good. But maybe it's what he was given.
It was what he was given. He did the best he could, but
Yeah, I think
you know what they say about your best.
I will say I feel like it was more what he was given than his portrayal. I thought the way he portrayed it was good. I think they could have given that character more depth than they did. But what's interesting is he played pretty much the exact same character in another movie that came out. When was this? In 1986. A movie called Black Moon Rising with Tommy Lee Jones. Which actually I watched it not too long ago. It holds up. It's a good heist movie if you're into heist movies.
No.
But I'm watching Superman 3. I'm like, this guy seems so familiar. Why is it so familiar? It's because I watched the same character might as well have been in this other movie that came out 3 years later. Anyway,
something very familiar about
you pretty much, Biff.
Yeah, now you've got me wondering if I've seen him in anything.
Well, he was on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. in the TV series. At the time, he was more well known.
He did a voice of someone in Recess. I saw real quick. I'm not sure what. He's Mr. White in Recess.
No, I know that.
Okay.
I know Mr. White from Recess because if you're talking Recess, like the cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon. Yeah,
oh
exactly.
yeah. No, that's my generation.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Something that I wish I could forget is something that's on my just like list before we get to our tragedy makers is okay. So Superman turns good, right? He's bad, and he goes to the British ship that's not going in.
Superman's bad.
I'll say he was.
I mean, he was bad.
He's going. He tears the hole in the ship, and all the oil's pouring out. Then he goes back, and he somehow blows the oil back in.
Yeah.
All right, that's weird. But then he fuses with heat ray vision right up against the oil, the metal of the ship. And that's not combustible?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, how does the oil know to stay back from it?
Well, that too. I figure he's still blowing the whole time. That's
okay.
my suspension of disbelief. But then he fuses it with his eyes, and that's somehow not combusting the oil. I'm just like, no, too far.
I so thought you were going to say, because of the oil tragedy we had after with the oil spills, with the Exxon Mobil gas spills and everything, we know that it's a lot harder to clean up than just blowing your breath. But this was before that, where I'm sure they figured like, oh, it's oil and water, it's easy to separate. Just like blow it back in should be a little bit easier. Take a little leap of faith there.
Yeah.
But it's not physically possible. I guess.
You guess?
Yeah.
You guess. But now let's get into the things we hated most about Superman 3, guys. And I'm going to start because, Ashley, you are sort of actually speaking around this. But, okay.
You didn't quite say it, so he's going to say it. No beating around the bush. Go ahead, Francisco. You tell us.
I thought
just dive right in.
The whole plot to control the Vulcan satellite, to change weather, and having to go to Smallville to do it when they control it from Websco Enterprises later on.
But they didn't want to be traced back.
But then why did they do it later on from Websco?
That's what I thought was weird. Yeah. I thought they were...
It just doesn't make sense. They didn't have to do this whole like him pretending to be a salesman for something. He could have been like, "Here's my badge from Websco. Here's my credentials. Let me in," and that's it. It doesn't have to be. And here, help me put the computer in because I need this.
Well, it's more funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought that was all so convoluted. As I was watching, I'm like, you could I don't remember what my fabulous fan fiction would have been, but I know I came up with it like while I was watching. I'm like, you can take out like a good 30 minutes from this 2-hour film
You could take a whole lot more than that.
by just like removing these parts and then stitching it together, and it'd be fine. So I was annoyed by that whole convolutedness of the Vulcan satellite and whatnot. So that's my tragic maker. Ashley, what did you hate most about this film?
Do you know what's convoluted?
My fabulous fan fiction?
No. So many things in this film.
Oh, okay.
The suspension of disbelief in this film is asking too much of its audience.
Like when he's fusing an oil tanker metal against oil.
That is one such example.
Yeah.
But other things that I just can't, it's asking too much of me.
Hold on. Let's compare lists. Go for it.
Okay. I was
Because mine is the same tragic maker. I'm going to fill in what you don't.
It starts with Gus being a super talented hacker.
How about you guys go back
I'm
and
fine
forth?
with that.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He's a slacker. I don't believe it. He might have some programming ability. They only show him taking one course. Whatever.
All right, Paul, let's go with Paul now. What's yours on the list then?
Creating weather.
Yes.
Crane weather.
Yes, the Vulcan satellite being having to be able to do that, and that also goes to Francisco's point. Why does he have to go to Smallville?
Yeah.
Especially if they use their computer at Websco. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Just meh.
Okay, what's next, Ashley, for you?
Okay, so the next thing is really being able to use that same computer to somehow be able to target the debris of Krypton. Does this satellite have such a far reach that it knows precisely where Krypton is, and it can analyze this dust from hundreds of light years away? I don't have an idea of how far away Krypton is.
It's advanced computer technology. It's like when they say enhance.
But it's the early 1980s.
And satellites are like specialized. I thought like they do one thing really well, not like multiple things.
Yeah, generally it's one specific thing. So the fact that he can use it to create weather, and then he can also use it to scan the debris and get like the makeup of the debris of Krypton is just absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
I have
All
way
right.
more.
How about you, Paul?
Yeah.
Volleying with this.
Computer wires are strong enough to hold Superman at the end. What?
Okay.
I'm
not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, isn't he weakened by kryptonite at that point? No?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't
They're
matter.
computer wires. Come on.
Okay. Next thing. Everything that computers are capable of in this time frame. I am sorry, but it is the early 80s. Home computers really didn't become more of a staple until the mid to late 80s.
Well, yeah, these are business computers.
It was on the precipice of it, but even still, they're not capable of doing these things. My gracious. Let
We'll get
alone
it. Some of those things. How about, and this is like the biggest one, the crosswalk signal guys fighting.
Oh my gosh, that was so dumb.
What was that?
Oh my god.
And by the way, the producers stand by like, hey, it could happen, and they're thinking.
No.
What?
Because they think computers can do anything. It doesn't make sense.
Including having
obviously they're fans of Electric Dreams.
Self-aware and finding sentience. And
Yeah.
then also being able to just scan Superman, and I automatically know his weakness. I'm just going to do an automatic scan, just like this satellite can know where the debris of Krypton is.
Hey, Travis can scan escape capsules and know what's going on. So
Yeah.
I'm sure this.
But it's a trap.
Yeah.
Just like this is a trap. It's like, ooh, Superman, let me scan you. Oh, I made a beam of kryptonite.
I've listed cleaning up oil spills by blowing it, which we already mentioned. Swinging down on a yo-yo string by your hands. I already mentioned. Go for it, Ashley.
I got another one. This made no sense to me, and this was pretty early on. So Francisco cited the was it an acid plant? What was?
Yeah,
okay,
a chemical
so
plant.
The chemical plant.
Yeah.
So the fact that he goes, and he freezes the top of the lake, and he brings it, and it comes down as rain.
That's how it works. That's how water works. When ice is heated, it becomes rain.
I saw it on Superman 3. That's how it works.
Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
All right.
Suspension of disbelief.
Okay. Paul?
skiing off the side of a building and landing.
and being totally fine.
All right,
Yeah,
even the
no.
producers know that was a little unbelievable. So
Okay, Ashley.
A computer being able to turn a person into an android and then somehow once the computer gets destroyed they're back to normal. Like destroying a computer, it undoes everything.
It's like a vampire that way.
Yeah, it's like an off switch. I turned off the android mode.
and the take over the world mode. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
All right.
Paul?
Why at the end of the movie, you know when what's her name? Lana takes Ricky to Smallville.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, go to the zoo."
Metropolis.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. From Smallville to Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
She stays at a hotel. Clark is there giving her the diamond because she's staying in the big city. So and then who of all people, Brad shows up.
Yep.
Now Brad lives in Kansas in Smallville.
Yeah.
How does he get all the way to the East Coast to Metropolis? It's not the next big city. Kansas City would be the next big city. What is he doing all the way over in Metropolis to find her, come across them at the hotel?
He probably followed them.
But he has so many prospects back in Kansas.
Yeah, but
it doesn't make sense.
He wants the one that he can't have. He's that archetype of character where he wants the one thing that he can't have.
He's a drunk that could barely tie his shoes.
By the way, Lana's staying at a hotel in New York. Did she just sell her house and just like, I'm just going to stay at a hotel for a while?
Let me just do this.
Well, it's the 80s. What does it cost? $2?
Let me uproot my child and everything he's ever known. His father's still back in Kansas, but let me just move. His father will never see him, and okay, he'll see him 2 weeks in the summer.
He's just in a slump, Mom.
Brad's not in a slump.
No, he's in an eternal slump.
Yes. Oh,
okay, I think we're back to Ashley.
I don't have that. Those were my biggest points of contention, but I'm sure Paul could keep it going. But
we can, but I think we bored the audience. Let's keep on.
Yeah, seriously, suspension of disbelief. It just asks far too much of the viewer, and it's just hard. I understand it's a comic book movie. I understand that there are going to be things that are larger than life, trying to soup up the plot and make things actiony and making you want to watch it, but then at the end of the day you're just scratching your head and you're like, did I really just see that? Did that really just happen? That makes no sense. You can't make weather using a satellite. Computers can't do that.
Wait a minute, that man can't fly.
It's like, okay, if you went to Kansas and then you went back to Metropolis, I hope you're getting frequent flyer miles if they're making you do all this travel. Or did they make you take the bus like Clark did? I don't know.
Because he hates to fly. He hates heights.
Clearly.
So it'd be the bus. He got off at the bus.
Here's the thing, guys. This is all in the Matrix, so it's all very possible for the computers to simulate all of this. That's how it works.
Is this being simulated right now?
Yes. In fact, let's simulate our firing
red or blue
solution. Exactly. We've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Travis, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Salvo authority accepted. Ratings prepared to launch.
See, even Travis knows it's salvo authority.
Don't start with me, Paul. Okay, guys. Do we rate Superman 3 a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see this film, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth revisiting if you saw it as a kid and enjoyed it. But if you've never seen it before, don't waste your time. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time today. If you've never seen it before, definitely keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. Let's begin with our guest, Ashley. You had predicted tragic. Yeah, tragic. Where did your final rating end up?
It remained the same.
So classic?
It remained the same. It in my mind, it was going to be tragic, and tragic was where it landed.
Wow.
Christopher Reeve was very charming and believable as Superman, but there were so many things that were just at odds in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And if the suspension of disbelief is asking way too much of me and it's making things up, and this movie is not like science fiction, it's a comic book superhero movie, let the super things be about Superman, not the super unrealistic things that are happening within it.
That's a good point. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
What you were saying, like with tragic, like never see it. I wish I could unsee it. Because
Oh, wow.
now I have this context, and I'm like, okay, of all the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, this and probably the one that comes after are regarded as the worst. But all I can say is if it doesn't have Lex Luthor, it's probably not worth it.
Have you seen the first two?
No. I haven't.
Well, then just, skip the fourth and it just gets better.
I was going to say the only introduction to Superman I've had in film before this is I have seen Superman Returns. I got dragged to Superman Returns when
With
I was
Brandon
in college.
Roth.
Yes. And I got dragged to that when I was in college. And the only other connection I have is Smallville. Because and Super Friends here and there, and like Justice League, just mostly Superman in animated form because again, not a huge fan, not seeking him out. I've seen more Batman movies.
Gotcha.
And I'll stick to those.
There are more Batman movies.
And I'll stick to those.
Tragic from Ashley. Paul, you had predicted classic. Where did it end up there for you?
Well, normally we go to our rad rewinders.
You know what? They're right. Let's go to our rad rewinders. And they, with their combined votes, rate Superman 3 a nostalgic. It was very heated, but it was nostalgic.
Okay. All right. So
now, Paul.
My lovely wife, who watched about half this movie before she totally gave up on it.
Was this her first time watching?
No.
Oh, okay.
She said, "But Paul, you're not gonna. Please tell me you're not gonna rate this ridiculous. I quote, ridiculous, silly, makes no sense movie a classic." But I'm sorry. I find the interaction between Clark and Lana so good, and that Superman fight. I'd recommend this movie to anybody. Like, as flawed, so flawed as this movie is, I'd still recommend it to anybody to watch. Oh, you haven't seen it? I'd recommend it. It's not everybody likes it, but give it a shot. I think it's.
I want to go back in time like Superman did. Can I unsee it?
No, because that's one of his worst capabilities. No one do that.
2 hours of my life, I'm never gonna.
You can travel. Through a flux capacitor. There's through a phone booth. There's so many ways to travel through time. Going so fast that it reverses the. No, don't time travel that way.
All right, so we have a tragic, nostalgic, and classic. So really, whichever way I go is going to be the final rating.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
Limit space.
With great power comes great. Oh wait, that's Spider-Man.
Yes.
It's still true though.
So, I definitely. This was definitely tough, guys, because, man, there's a lot I don't like about this movie.
Oh yeah, there's a lot not to, but there's a lot to like.
I mean,
how good is the good versus how bad is the bad?
Yeah, seriously, where are your scales when you need them?
Yeah, unfortunately,
don't say them.
For
who?
Everyone. I'm gonna have to rate Superman 3 a tragic.
Victory! You came to the right side, husband. I'll make you cookies.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. That's why.
That's how.
Well, you saved me. I have to say thank you.
Cookies? I thought you promised me half a cent of your paycheck.
You're not getting half of nothing.
Oh, what?
I'm getting half a crumb.
Cookie. You'll get half a crumb. Is that right? That's right.
No, I think a lot of it goes to the asking the audience to suspend so much disbelief. And I think maybe back in the 80s it wasn't as bad, but watching this for today, I can't recommend this to. The only person I might recommend this to is a 5-year-old who's goo goo gaga about Superman.
What are you saying about me?
Exactly.
You're 5 years old in spirit, and you're goo goo gaga over Superman.
I'm not saying anything about you, Paul. This is what I would recommend it to. That's fine if you won't like it. But yeah, it's just as much of the things that I like about it, I don't think they're
up?
not hold up. I don't think they
Stand the test of time.
overcome all the things that are just yeah, I didn't laugh once at this movie. I thought so much was unbelievable. I want more of that chemical fire. I just want more of that Superman. Where'd that go?
Yeah, and I wanted more Clark and Lana.
Yeah, that would have been nice too. If they had ended up at the end married or something,
Yeah.
I may have gotten nostalgic. I may have. Or if they actually got John Williams to come back, Kevin Thorne, whatever, you're fine. But I want my
he
John
did
Williams
good
back
for
there.
what he had.
Yeah. Just a lot of drums.
Well, that's John Williams' score of Krypton when they're on Krypton.
Oh, is that what he? Okay, I thought it sounded familiar. So what did
Yeah.
he do? Was it just all John Williams?
No, he did some other like fill in the blank stuff that, when they're
by
sitting
numbers composition.
or like when they're in the drunk where they're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
It's all stuff you don't remember,
Yeah.
but it just he does the job. He
Yeah.
gets it from scene to scene.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, and someone needs to do that. So,
Right.
Thank you for
Especially
doing
if you
that.
don't have John Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. You need John Williams.
But yeah, nostalgia. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Superman 3 a disputed tragic film. We'd recommend no one go see this, whether or not you've seen it before.
Sorry, folks. I tried.
But now
Maybe a little
it's
too hard.
now we're not able to go back to our own time now, but we're still going to see we're still going to let you know where you can find us and say some thank yous to you guys.
No 20XX.
Return to 20XX overridden. Comsats broadcasting while awaiting return coordinates.
What?
We have to figure it out. Keep up with the ship's logs. See if we can figure out how to get back to 20XX.
All right. My positive attitude will continue.
I mean, I guess technically we're in 20XX right now, but we're not going to worry about that. Feels good to be back.
Back where?
Travel back to 1983 to begin with. If it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax,
Woohoo!
Rosie Lomax.
Ashley's here. Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Damn it, Francisco. Let me do that over. Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast.
Who's Thurua?
Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz. Oh, you're right
Woohoo!
here. Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, Rosie Lomax, That's Our Bobo, D. Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
In the Hall of Heroes are assembled the world's greatest supporters, the Rad Rewinders. Their mission to ensure the continuing adventures of the Retro Rewind podcast. Meanwhile, the city is safe for now with the support of PaulJPowers.com.
Hey, Francisco, are there any ways to support the show without dipping into the finances?
Yes, there are, Paul. Actually, you probably enjoyed this episode if you made it this far. So if you aren't driving, tap the share icon in your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, I know you like Superman 3 or I know you like Superman, so I thought you would like this podcast on it.
Cool. And I'll bet they'll thank you for it, especially if you love it and then they wind up rating it tragic. They'll just love you even more.
They will, yes.
But spanking. Wow. No, not spanking. Speaking of thanking people, we want to give a super big hug to Ashley Ruiz for coming on here and supporting us with her thoughts about Superman. Aye. Maybe that's what they should retitle it to.
Yes.
Aye.
Anyway, where can people find you online, Ashley? And is there anything cool you got going on people should know about?
Really nothing going on, just life in general, but you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at
It's called X now.
They have
Not yet. They say that.
They say it, but
The logo's changed.
Not on my phone.
let me live under a rock for a few more moments. But yes, you can find me across most
Thanks,
social
Elon.
medias at Ashley Ruiz 1186 find me tweeting and posting pictures that are talking about faith and fandoms and all sorts of things in between.
And how tragic Superman 3 was.
That's
Hey,
right.
I haven't posted that yet. Maybe I will.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you so much to my super friend, Paul, and all you rewinders, new or old, for another fun voyage.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com at pauljpowers.com.
Ah. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Did you ever see the first Superman where
Yeah.
the big floating head was just talking over?
Uh-huh.
It kind of reminded me of that announcement of
Maybe
I
I'll
wonder-
go back and watch the good Superman.
Marlon Brando, James
Yeah.
Norman.
I was about to say, I wonder if Nathan can do a good Marlon Brando. Anyway,
I don't know. Anyway.
as Marlon Brando just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for... Actually, wait. Where are those I'm seeing lots of things come up on radar right now.
That's a lot of them. It's like a
Yeah.
swarm.
I think we'll have to figure that out. But
All right.
maybe we'll know where to go after our next ship's log. But until then, rewinders new and old, catch you later.
Rewinders of the Lost Pod mission complete. Review audio ship's logs for more details.
Superman 3 should have been a classic film.
It was a perfect plan. It was foolproof. And we were the fools.
It's not my fault. I did what I was supposed to do. You can't blame me. You ruined it.
Too.
You all ruined it.
I ruined it. We
No,
ruined
those
it.
actors.
Awesome.
Well, and the people that made it, they did their best.
Yeah. So we are going to end the stream now and do our spiritual speculation. If you want to hear that in the podcast, be a supporter at retrorewindpodcast.com/support.
Thanks so much,
Can you-
everyone.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Neko, Zabe, Grim, Manny Calvera. Let's see, who else? Anyone else? I think that's mainly it. I know Midgard, if you're still here. Yoshi, Cellcast, Dale. I know Cellcast and Baba were here earlier. But
Sean.
Sean is Neko. That's
Oh.
the same person.
Why are all these people changing names?
Because they're over on YouTube instead of Twitch.
Oh, because they can. All right,
Yeah,
good for you.
Exactly. So can some of the speculations I may be talking about is talking about greed and controlling one's spirit. Ashley or Paul, any sort of tidbits you can give about what your spiritual speculations are?
If you could fight your good self versus your bad self, what setting would it be in?
What setting?
Yeah, like a
hard,
junkyard, or where would
easy-
you want?
Oh,
where?
okay.
Where, like your battle stage? Where would you have it?
Oh, okay, interesting.
The battle we fight within ourselves
Okay.
every day.
Awesome. So yeah, hopefully if you support the show, you get to hear those conversations along with our back catalog of them, which I still have to flesh them out. I'm still behind on getting all the back catalog
You
of
can
spiritual
do it.
speculations up, but you'll certainly get all the new ones. Yeah. Thank you so much, Midgard. And until next time, guys, here is your stream face.